Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mark with Limo Marketer here, and in today's video I want to discuss what sort of return on investment should you expect with Google Ads. And so I get this question a lot, especially with new clients and just a lot in the Limo Marketing Mastermind Facebook group, which if you're not a member of that group, please join, completely free. And I post a lot of unique content in there that helps you operators out there grow your businesses. And so it's not an easy question to answer because there's so many variables, but let's go with the first two main variables here. Okay, so really the two biggest variables I see are, number one, do you mainly do black car? So for that, I'm talking sedans, SUVs, executive style sprinters, or do you do more like, stretch limos, party buses, limo sprinters, that sort of thing, right? And the reason why we need to look at this first is because we need to look at what your average ticket price is, okay? So I'm gonna make some very gross generalizations here just to make this easy. Let's say if you do black car, let's say your average out of your past, let's say 500 runs is, let's say your average is 200. Now that might be a little high, right? Those of you out there, I know I'm right on the border there, that says 200. I know for many of you, your average might be 150 or even 100 if you're just doing, short airport transfers. And then for Limo and Party Bus, let's say that your average ticket price is 500, okay? So now with those numbers, that's the first thing we need to know, okay? So black car, we're gonna say your average, ticket price, your average run is $200, and there might be lots of $100 runs, but there might be some $500, $800 runs. I just spoke with a client the other day who took someone out in a Rolls Royce, and this guy's black car, and took him out shopping for 7 hours. It was, I believe, a $3,400 trip, right? So that's gonna really throw this number off, but most of his runs are, on the lower side, $150, $175 a run. Okay, so with those numbers there, now we need to start looking at, okay, what are your Google Ads costs? And now the numbers I'm gonna go over are the ideal numbers, okay? Now, I'm not saying you're gonna get these numbers if you just started your own Google Ads campaign and, a Google rep set it up for you. Your numbers will be nowhere near these. I'm gonna show you what you can expect in like sort of a best case scenario type situation, okay? So let's pretend both of these operators are starting out with a daily budget of, a monthly budget of $1,000 a month, right? Let's see, budget. So about $33 a day, okay? So we'll say black car and then limo / party bus. Remember, this is going to be 200, this is going to be 500. And so the cost per click for both black car and Limo and Party Bus, I've found many times, surprisingly enough, can be pretty similar. And which is strange, right? Because if one of them, the average ticket price is 200 and the other one, the average ticket price is 500, you would think this would be 2.5 times more per click and per lead, but that usually isn't the case. Okay, so with your $1,000 budget, let's just make these numbers very simple. Let's say we're paying $2 per click. If you're in a place like Kansas City, that might be the case. If you're in New York, it might be a little higher. $3 or $4 a click. Granted, again, right now, demand is very high, and surprisingly enough, there's still not a lot of advertisers out there. So what you pay per click right now is lower than it typically is. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Now remember, I'm shooting this video, today's May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2021. Okay, so for that $1,000 budget, you're gonna get 500 clicks, okay? Right? Now, a click, and I go over this in another video, but it always gets confused, I've found. A click and a lead are two different things. Just because someone clicks on your ad does not mean they're going to book online. It doesn't mean they're going to call you. It doesn't mean they're going to request a quote via like a quote form you have. Okay, so these are just clicks. What we really want are leads, right? And we want relevant leads. And so ideally, what I've found is if you have your Google Ads campaign targeting the right people, if you have a high converting website or landing page you're sending them to, then what you can typically expect is 25 to 35% of those people that clicked on your ad will take the next step and call or fill out an online quote request form. Okay, so I'm gonna base these numbers off that. And you know what, I'm gonna just call it 25%. So let's say out of those 500 clicks, 25% of them take the next step, they call or they fill out a form, right? So we'll call this 25% and it's conversion rate, right? So what is that then? That's 125 leads. Per month, okay? So 125 leads a month. Now this is where it gets interesting. And this is where it really can either make or break you. Because you can have a great Google Ads campaign, a great landing page, and really have your online marketing dialed in. But if you don't have the sales and the follow-up, then your lead to sale conversion rate is going to be much lower. And this really is the key. Okay, so let's say that our lead to sale conversion rate, I'm going to do two different scenarios to show you how important it is. But let's say, you know, operator, let's say Bob's Limos. Let's say he converts only 10% of his leads into sales, right? So if he's getting 100 lead to sale. So if he's getting 125 leads a month, he's getting 12.5 jobs per month. And let's say Bob does limos and party buses. Okay, so now we do 12.5 times 500, right? So what is that? That's going to be 6250. So Bob just made 6250, right? And his $1,000 spend yielded him $6,250, all right? All right, so let's say Bob does a black car, right? Well, then we just do 12.5 times 200, which obviously that's going to be 2,500. So this is the limo / party bus, and we're going to do black car over here, and that's 2,500. Okay, $1,000 spend, $2,500 in cash collected in revenue. So obviously, this is costing him 40%. 40% of his revenue is going towards advertising. Now, it gets even a little more confusing here. And let me just lower this a hair just so you guys can see all these numbers here. Okay. Down just a hair more. Okay, perfect, perfect. And so what gets a little more confusing is obviously with black car, you're going to get typically more repeat clients. Now, right now, corporate isn't all the way back yet, right? So it's still a lot of retail travelers. But this is essentially the ROI these two companies are getting. And with some quick math here, it looks like this person at 6250, I'm not super good at math, but off the top of my head, he's probably spending about 15% or so of his revenue or maybe a little less than that on advertising. Whereas if Bob did black car, he'd be spending 40% of his revenue on advertising, right? Okay, so let's change just one number, all right? Because all of these numbers, if you have a good Google Ads campaign, landing page, website, it all converts well. But let's say Bob, Bob typically takes 30 minutes to respond to leads, 30 to 45 minutes, and Bob just sends them an email quote. Bob usually doesn't follow up. Bob never calls anyone. He doesn't use any SMS marketing or follow up, and so he's only converting at 10%. But let's say Bill's limos. Bill has it down, right? He knows how to sell. He knows how to follow up. He's using text messaging follow up. He's sending quotes out via text. And let's say because of all of this, Bill is converting 35% of his leads to sales, okay? We'll just call it 33% to make the numbers a little easier. And so he's getting still the same 125 leads a month, right? But Bill's lead to sale conversion rate is 33%, over 3 times what Bob's was, right? Okay, so 33% of 125, that's about what, 41, 42. So Bill is now getting 42 sales a month. All right, now let's say Bill does limos and party buses. That's pretty easy, right? So Bill made 21,000 in revenue. And if Bill, and again, this is limo / party bus, and for black car, you do 42 times 200, which is 8,400. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so wow, look how much that changes the numbers, right? So Bill, just because he's following up quicker, he's using more modern methods of communication like SMS instead of just using email, he's following up in under 5 minutes, he's closing 3 times as many leads as Bob is. And on that $1,000 of ad spend, Bill is generating $21,000 of revenue. And so that's only 5% of his revenue is on advertising, right? And even if Bill just does black car, the numbers are still much, much better. I mean, he's still spending a little bit over 10% of his, a little more than 10% of his revenue on ad spend, but it might be what, 12, 13, 14% or so. And so that's a massive, massive difference. But again, we have to remember, typically black car, you're gonna get more repeat clients. When you do stretch limos and party buses, a lot of times it's birthdays, anniversaries, nights out, weddings, bachelor, bachelorette parties. Many times these things just happen one time, and so you might not get as many repeat clients. And so really, for this black car, I mean, the key, if you're doing any sort of online advertising, is you need to make sure you're getting as many clients back, doing round trips, and really just delivering an awesome service and keeping in touch with every single client, and really just touching base with them, via maybe a text blast every 4 to 8 weeks, letting them know, hey, do you have any travel coming up? Because many times, someone who uses a black car service, for traveling or whatever, let's say they fly from LA to New York, well, maybe they do that every month or every 2 months. And so that's why it's so important to foster those relationships when you're a black car operator. Anyways, guys, this video ran a little longer than I wanted it to, but I just wanted you guys to kind of understand what is the return on investment you can expect when doing Google Ads. Now, obviously, I put $1,000 ad spend here. If you have an agency managing it, it can throw the numbers off a little bit more. but I didn't want to factor that in because that just creates a little more confusion. So if you guys take away anything from this video, what I want you to take away is this. Number one, your lead to sale close rate is crucial in having success long-term and being profitable. And then number two is, if you're thinking right now about, maybe you do black car, you don't like the stretch limos, you don't want to deal, or party buses, you don't want to deal with a bunch of drunk people and all the issues that come with that. They're mainly weekend jobs and all of that, which I get that. You might want to consider adding one or two to your inventory because the average job size is typically so much larger. I work with some companies who their average ticket is $800 or $900. So it doesn't take them as many jobs to hit that $80,000, $100,000 a month mark. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like and let me know, are you running Google Ads and what sort of return on investment do you think you're getting? Because look, at the end of the day, while this is really the part you guys control, if you're running the ads yourself or you have an agency running it, this is the part that they control, okay? And so imagine if we were only getting a 10% conversion rate, then we'd only be getting 50 leads a month. And that would change the numbers around a lot. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow it. And thank you so much for watching and looking forward to you guys seeing the next one. Thanks.